This conference will now be recorded.
Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Weaver. I'm the Vice President of Sales at NSA, and I'd like to welcome you all to our webinars today. This is the 38th in our NSA webinar series. This one is on optimizing your investment in post-CSD migration. And this session today will be given by Carol Shinya. She's our Director of Global Accounts, and welcome you all. And Carol, take it away.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you everyone for joining me. I know how busy everyone is, so I appreciate your time. A bit of background. So I've been either a user or an implementer of the Infor products since about the mid-90s. I joined NSA in 2017, the beginning of 2017, and jumped right into our very first CloudSuite implementation. I am very happy and pleased to say that 5 years later, they still take my phone calls. So that's a good thing. Of course, since then, we've obviously done more since then. And I do try to stay in touch with the users. I reach out to them a couple of times a year just to touch base, see how it's going. I found that I was kind of hearing a common theme. I would ask them things like, well, are you leveraging this? Are you doing that? And it was always, no, we haven't gotten to it yet. Or no, wasn't even aware of that. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to put this session together to kind of use it as a reminder for those of you live and for those of you not yet live to think about this as part of your rollout. We've got about 11 users live on CloudSuite now. And we're in the middle of almost 20 migrations at this time. Not all at the same time. They're going live at different stages. We have some coming up soon, and they're going right out to 2023. So for today's session, 3 things I wanted to talk about: monthly enhancements, continuous improvement, and of course, starting to leverage some of those new features and technology available to you in CloudSuite. First thing I want to talk about is our monthly enhancement process. I'm pretty sure you're all aware, but Infor applies new features every month, along with fixes to software bugs. So, are you aware of that? How are you notified about those things? These are the 3 KB articles available from the Infor support portal that you should be subscribing to. And the reason why I suggest you sign up for these is because you'll get notified anytime there's a change. So the first one is the multi-tenant release deployment calendar. So that's the schedule when they update the tenants with the new patch. So the cadence for CloudSuite Distribution is monthly, usually the 3rd Saturday of the month. That's for production. They do also apply the same patch a week earlier into your train and test to give you an opportunity to look at these new fixes, look at these new enhancements, and determine what you might want to deploy. So the other 2 KB articles. The first one is the distribution update, 1960491. Please sign up for that one. That's a good one because a month before the enhancements are released, they publish all of the documentation related to it, and that includes fixes. So I've already got I already have the March updates, so the release notes and the fixed issues list, even though the March deployment of the patch won't occur until the 2nd Friday of March for train and test, and the 3rd Saturday or weekend of the month of March for the production. Because they publish the documentation a good month and a bit out, there is a supplemental KB article, that's the next one, where they'll add any additional information that occurred since they published the official documentation for that patch. Why does this matter? There's some impact beyond learning about the new features, because they do come in turned off. So you can selectively decide and fully test it before you turn it on in production. But fixes come in turned on. So maybe you have a workaround because you hit a bug. You want to be aware that the fix is coming in to make sure that your users are prepared for it, also to give you the opportunity to test it prior to it being moved into live, and let your users know to stop using the workaround as of the Monday after the patch is deployed. A couple of other things that impact you with these monthly updates. There is, and so far in the 5 years I've been supporting it, no one's had any major issues. But understand that there could be changes to fields and tables or the EDI files. So you want to be aware of those changes and make sure to download from the support portal new EDI docs and the new DC mapping files. So that's why I'm going to stress to make sure you're aware of those monthly enhancements. And please don't forget your stored reports. Again, it hasn't caused any issue because Infor is aware and they're careful about it, but they will add new ranges and options to the reports. Unfortunately, stored reports don't get updated just automatically. So your report may still run, but you might be missing an option that would be of benefit. So that's why I want you to be sure you're aware of what's coming into your tenant. Don't forget your extensions. If you've written any extensions, always a good thing to make sure to test it in your trainer test tenants prior to the move to production, just to make sure. The extension could be also a personalization. So they do make changes to the screen. So you want to make sure that you don't have to do any tweaks. And don't forget your edge products. I know, what's an edge product, right? I know, new term. So Infor now calls them edge products. Those edge products are things like SendPause or Evalera. So those are those either third party or Infor or other partner products that work with CloudSuite. There are sometimes changes to the integrations. Nothing that should cause you any serious problem, but you may want to be aware of some of these new changes. It's always your IT folks. They're real smart people. They probably should own this process, but they may not have the field experience to really determine if something new should be deployed. So that's where I always suggest to our CloudSuite implementation folks to kind of maintain the champions and use their knowledge, because they've got the tribal knowledge of the day-to-day operations of their area of expertise. They should be tasked to help the review of the new features and fixes because they're the ones really using it. So they can help us figure out whether A, we need to turn it on, and if so, they would be the ones to fully test it and work with IT to plan the rollout. Don't forget, some of these things, you might need things like populating a field, you may need security turned on, and a lot of the new features do require you turn on administrative options. So it's going to be a joint effort between your IT folks and your field personnel. Continuous improvement. You guys bought CloudSuite for a reason, right? One of those reasons was you will always be on the latest and the greatest. And that means every month something new is happening. So really the idea of CloudSuite, it's really different from in the past when you were on-prem. On-prem, you probably did an upgrade every, 3 to 5 years maybe? So, you went live, you survived, and then you didn't really look at SX again till 3 to 5 years later when you did the next upgrade. Well, that's changed. So things are changing dynamically with this product every month. So it's important to start thinking in terms of let's always be improving our experience, adding automation, leveraging the new technology, improving our process, taking what we do manually outside in our Excel spreadsheets and seeing if we can start leveraging CloudSuite. One of the areas that we do, so when we do a CloudSuite migration or an implementation for someone new, we also offer a service for post-go live, usually, 3-6 months out, maybe a year. Sometimes we have customers already live on CloudSuite. We didn't work with them on the initial implementation, but they do reach out to us and ask us for some help to take them to the next level. So one of the things that we do almost right away is look at user adoption. And this is something you guys can do yourself. You don't need external help. You can start to work with the users to see their level of adoption on CloudSuite. Let's face it, we rocked their world, right? It was a big change. Not that functionally it changed that much, but it was a different UI. So they had to relearn some things. So really a good practice after go live is to do an evaluation of user adoption. One of the areas that I feel is kind of important is the usability. Take the time to evaluate your end users now that you're live, right? They learned a lot of new things, whole new navigation. Let's face it, we can only absorb so much. There's probably some stuff they might have forgotten about. So we do this with our clients, and the things that we've noticed that sometimes don't get used as much as they could be and leveraged is the use of the grid lists and the filtering, the searching. You can save your searches now, use of hotkeys. So one of the big complaints we get on usability is too much movement, keyboard, mouse click, keyboard, mouse click, right? Go back to those users, find out what we can do to improve that for them. Personalization will allow us to shift things around. We can create hotkeys. So instead of having to go keyboard to mouse, we can possibly do a hotkey to keep them just straight on the keyboard. We can do things like, hey, order entry, I enter my line, now I got to take my mouse and go to the top of the screen and click add. I can recreate that button so it's part of the line, and then we can have it so that at the keyboard you tab, enter, and it adds the line. Saves them that extra movement of having to go back to their mouse. Those are the kinds of usability things that we can certainly help improve the experience for our users. At the time, yes, we showed them all this stuff. Problem is sometimes, way too much going into our brains and some of it just slips out. We forget about using it. So take the time, figure out what they need, and let's improve it for them. One example, so I was working with a user. They had 40 CSRs. I was working with their largest group. There was 24 of them in the bullpen. I was literally just walking around. And I was there for them for questions, but I was also watching them work. I was watching what they did, because sometimes I'm just observing things and I could see something like, oh, you know what? It'd be faster if you did this. Other things that happen, and I'm going to hit you with this, those monthly enhancements. When you went live 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 3 years ago, personalization wasn't bad, but they since added the ability to change the color of certain fields. I like that feature. I want to sometimes take within a screen, take a field, highlight it in a different color because it forces my eye to it. Just a visual reminder to the user, hey, go fill that field out. Or it's something they keep missing, maybe we can make it required. That's another thing we can do with CloudSuite. or change the color so that their eye sees it. Little things like that that have come into the system since you went live. If you haven't been paying attention to those monthly enhancements, you may not be aware of it unless you happen to go in and notice it, right? So
Hey,
that's
Carol.
kind of why yeah.
Just around those questions, we do have a question that's related.
We have some questions. Okay.
Yeah, just one here. So are all the updates automatically made, or do we have the option to accept them?
Hey, Chris, no, you don't. You can't take them optionally, but on the plus side, the fixes come in turned on, yes, because they're bug fixes, but the new features are come in turned off. So you decide whether you want to use it or not, and you can plan how to roll it out. Chris, does that make sense?
Yes.
All righty, thank you. Okay, so usability, can't stress it enough. For any of you that worked with us who did an optimization, you can do this yourselves within your own team, but go back. We do cover some of that stuff in that BOR report we provide you. Go back and make sure, ask the similar questions. What are the top 3 things that, make your job tough? Maybe there's new features out there that you weren't aware of that could help. Maybe we can leverage something else and build something that'll ease their pain points. Take the time to figure out what they need. You might be surprised we might have a way to help their day-to-day work. Okay, so let's go to some of the new stuff, the fun stuff in CloudSuite. I'm going to cover 5 topics: the Ion APIs, workflow and alerts, Mingle, home pages, and the Infor Marketplace. The Ion and APIs, you can do a ton of different stuff with this. APIs were available in your old SX GUI, but they've stepped it up, and there are a lot more available to us. We use these to integrate to other applications, whether it's an Infor app or a non-Infor app. We can use it to create, maintain data within CloudSuite. We can use it to extract data out of the system in different formats. And I'm going to hit you again with those monthly enhancements coming out in April. They'll be adding a new API, and that API is open to any of the tables available in CloudSuite. And that's a big one, because right now there are a lot of APIs, but there are still a few we may not have available for us to communicate with a specific table in CloudSuite. So in the April release, Infor Product Management had told me they will be adding a new API that is open to all tables. My favorite, workflow and alerts. They come with CloudSuite comes with some pre-built alerts, but you can also build your own, or enhance those pre-built alerts. Here was a simple example in that workflow I'm showing on the screen. This is the standard, the credit hold alert that goes out from CloudSuite. We had a business challenge, came from a customer who had a modification. They had a mod that said, if the credit hold on the order was less than $1,000, I don't want it to go on credit hold. Just let it flow through the system. So obviously no mods in CloudSuite, right? So we had to think outside the box a little bit and said, well, you know what? With the workflow and alerts, this is something we can do now in CloudSuite, not something we could do without a mod in our old SX GUI. We could take that alert and make a change to it. So the alert was modified, and added a condition. And that condition was simply, if the order value was less than 1,000, just automatically approve it and let it flow through the system. Great, we found a solution. Customer was even more pleased because we gave him an added benefit that we didn't realize that he even needed at the time. But he told us after the fact, I like it this way, because now I could actually see all the orders that would have gone on credit hold, but the system automatically released. So they can do some analysis later on, figure out, is this dollar amount right? Is this a good business decision to keep doing that? That was something we couldn't do before because we never put it on credit hold using the custom mod. So these are some innovative ways and things that we can use some of these new tools to make our life better and also analyze the results of it. How good is some of these business decisions if we have no way to mine the information? So this gave him what he needed and gave him the ability to go back and assess whether this made sense. Do we need to raise it? Do we need to lower it? He had the information now. And we didn't have to do really that much work. It was a tweak of the workflow, the existing pre-built alert. These are some of the things that if you haven't started to look at or started to leverage, and everything's stable now, and you've got the time to start looking at how you can leverage some of the new tools available in CloudSuite. All right, the next one's Mingle. And Mingle's a bit of Mingle says, if you say Mingle to me, it's like, well, which part of it? So there's a couple of different pieces to it. The Infor Mingle is initially, when you first log in, that's where we dock our different applications, whether it's Infor applications or non-Infor applications. So I call it my one-stop shop. I can do some posting of information. That's my social collaboration. I can have my in-context apps, and that's that Mingle that runs on the right side when you're logged into CloudSuite. Those are context apps because they display information automatically based on the type of transaction or data you're looking at in that particular screen. I'm not sure if everyone is aware, but the Mingle app is also available as a mobile app running on Android and iPhone. So I can get access to my Mingle on my handy cell phone if I happen to be away from my desk. The big piece of Mingle that I really liked is the home pages. Home pages you can have the pre-built ones that Infor provides by functional role. And what it does is, at a glance, give me the pulse of the business, what's going on. It also allows me to add things like external websites, additional options to access like IDM docs, and I can customize this to build it for the CSR role in my business. Or in my case, I wanted to see a bunch of different things on a single page, and I have some great coworkers, and they were probably tired of hearing me complain about it, so they built me my own homepage. I want to just jump over to CloudSuite and give you a chance to take a look at that. There we go. Here's my CloudSuite. Of course, I've been sitting here too long. There we go. Now this is our NSA CloudSuite tenant. I'm just going to go over here to my waffle menu. And some of the things I talked about with Mingle, this is actually Mingle, right? And then I have over there, this portion of Mingle is my activity feed. This is where I can post information to a group of people or to all the users that are connected or everyone that has a Mingle login. It's really just a social collaboration. It's an opportunity for me to inform my peers about things that are going on. So yesterday we had a record-breaking deal. Woohoo! And I wanted everybody to know about it. So I posted it in my Mingle feed. From this feed, if somebody sees it, they can click on it. And, oh, I'm not logged into, hold on, I'm not logged into my CloudSuite, I don't think, no. I have multiple logins and multiple companies, so I have to be logged in. Let me go back to my activity feed. I can click on this link and it will drill me back into the sales order. So this was my big order and I wanted to let everyone know about it. Woohoo, a $1.8 million order, yay! So I wanted to let my team know about it. That's the social collaboration piece of Mingle. The home pages, though, is the one that I like using the best. And for those IT folks out there who have to listen to end users like me, I said, oh, I don't want to have to go to Infor Mingle here to look at my feed and look at all the other things and different applications. I want everything in one page. So they were nice. My great, smart IT tech folks made me my own page. It's called Carol's page. And in here, I had them build out a whole bunch of different, add in a bunch of different widgets that suited the way I needed to work. So I'm a CSR person. I can see these posts. That was the same post I just showed earlier. And of course, I can, again, drill into it from here. I can look at my customers from here and, again, drill into things. Up here, I have my different alerts. So remember those workflows and alerts that we talked about earlier? If I have certain alerts set up to notify me about something, so here's a sales order credit on hold, and perhaps I'm the one who can release it, then that's a task assigned to me. And again, I can drill into this, call up the sales order, and release it. Here's my task, this sales order number in this company, and I can go ahead and release it. Perhaps I shouldn't be releasing it. It should be somebody else, or I need to reassign it to somebody. I could go ahead and also assign it to another user in the system. These are the little tools that I just find so practical within CloudSuite that we just didn't have before. So would suggest, like, take the time to take a look at these. There are some standard pre-built ones available to you. Now, there is a little bit of setup work because some of the information is based on your burst data warehouse and other things are based on APIs that go out to the database and call up information. So the standard home pages that we have are customer service, AP, purchasing, AR, and vendor. There may be more, I just might not have them turned on at this point, but there are a number of pre-built pages that come out of the box. And I think I saw a question. So if you only have one company tied to your Mingle user, can you use the CSD transaction links in your Mingle without logging into CSD first? I believe that answer is yes. I have multiple companies, so I had to be logged into it. I will confirm that back to this group, okay? But I do believe if it's a single company, it will know that and have you, because normally if you have only one company, logs you straight into that one company. So that connection is there.
Carol,
Yes.
I see another question. Where can we learn more about utilizing Mingle and home pages? Is there documentation available somewhere? And that also has some relationship to another question, which was, how do we learn about the new features besides the documentation? Not all of it is straightforward. Where do we get the training?
Yeah, you're right. There are some areas. Mingle is used across multiple Infor products. So there is a separate set of documentation for Mingle, including release notes. So I don't have the KB article for that one, but I will get that back to you because I should have your email. I will get that back to this group. There is also, I believe, documentation on home pages, although the release notes on that are part of your CloudSuite release notes. So if you're looking at those regularly, you will be made aware of new pages that are added. Let's see. So I'm going to just flip back to my PowerPoint. Apologies for all this flipping here. Last thing on the topic of the new tech that I wanted to talk about was it's really not specifically new technology for CloudSuite, but it is kind of something new to our market space, right? That is the Infor Marketplace. So Infor Marketplace is actually a showcase of various add-ons, integrations, tool sets that are made available to the CloudSuite Distribution users. And let me just click over to that page to give you a quick view of what that looks like. These could be applications, could be integrations that were built by Infor or some of our Infor partners, for example, like NSA or other partners of Infor's. Why is this important? You may be working a project and you're going to invest in developing something that maybe somebody else already has. Let's look at all of it. We can look at, whoops. So here are the various ERPs. Now, keep in mind, this is an Infor site, so it will be relative. It could be add-on products for other Infor products. So if we are looking specifically for distribution, filter either through your industry ERP or within some of these other tabs here. So Infor software, I can go directly to just distribution related. And here we go. So these are the distribution ones available from Infor. In the Infor labs, there was one that was kind of interesting. They actually have workflows available. So that was why I kind of wanted to point out this marketplace if you weren't aware of it. There are some other Infor document management workflow approval. There are even things like workflows that are available for you to buy or license either from Infor or one of their partners. We do have some partner apps and extensions over here as well, and that, yes, that includes extensions. So it's well worth looking here before you go ahead and do something. You might find something out of the box already available. That kind of sums up what I had to cover today. Ready to open it up to any questions.
Yeah, folks, so please enter your questions into the chat for Carol. Carol, I have one for you. So what would you say are maybe the biggest misses that we've seen from our implementations of CSD in terms of things that folks are not taking advantage of?
Oh, I'd say for sure the workflows and alerts. Some of the slick and cool things you could do with the APIs and with the Ion. And it's a bit of a plug here, but if you are planning on attending TUG, my coworker, Rob Thayer, one of our senior systems engineers, is doing a session specifically on APIs and how to leverage Ion and the API connection points to data flows and workflows. That was a mouthful, went way over my head because that's very technical, but if some of your folks are technical and are planning to attend TUG, I'd highly recommend going to see that session. Rob has done some pretty cool things with CloudSuite for our customers, and including special scripting where he's taken data out of CloudSuite, made some changes, brought it back in. That kind of stuff, if that's of interest or you have some challenges with some of that stuff, highly recommend going to see that session. There are also a number of other sessions at TUG that are related to home pages, workflows and alerts, well worth attending. One of the other misses that I'm finding with our CloudSuite migrations, again, is that leveraging the new enhancements. You may have gone live 6 months ago. If you haven't been maintaining what's happening, there might be some cool and really slick stuff that's coming out that you need, that you're just not aware of. And you won't just kind of find it because usually the new features are turned off. So I go ahead and I look ahead. I already know what's being released in the March patch because I signed up to the KB article and I'm scanning those release notes. Now, if any of you have been live for a while and, got a bit of a whole bunch of months to go through, I do maintain a functionality list by release. Let me show you that. Oops. And it's in Excel format. So you can go ahead and filter based on, what modules are that you use, and as well by version. So starting with the version after your go live version up to today, the current version, this would just reduce the list and provide you with whatever you have not reviewed yet. Now, it's a summary list, right? You would still need to go back to the release notes. But if I wanted to see just what was made available in the AR module between my version and the current version, actually up to March, I could just use this list to figure out which release notes to pull. If you guys would like a copy of this, more than happy to share that. And I think there was another question. Where to find the updates for the past 6 months? Sure. So someone would like to know where to find those updates. Personally, I subscribe to the KB article that notifies me. And if you are subscribed to that, it actually goes back a whole, at least a year. Otherwise, you can go here in the Infor support portal. Under the search, browse documentation. I'm by default set for CloudSuite and SX Enterprise, so this is what it displays for me initially, but they're here by release, so by patch. Within the patch as well, you'll see here, so integration documentation is also available to you for that patch. And there's quite a bit. Now, product release notes, 2 different files. There is the release notes, so that's the new feature functionality, and the fixed issues list, which is all the fixes that were applied in that patch. So I would recommend you pull off both of them. So under the version, product release notes, and then applications, you should find the relevant documents for that release.
So
Any
Carol,
other questions?
yeah,
Go
so
ahead.
just maybe a comment, and I'd like to get your take on it. So I think it's a bit of a change in terms of methodology that folks are used to.
100%.
The on-prem version, right, where they will do updates as they choose to. So keeping an eye on all of the new, weekly releases from CSD is really important.
It is 100%. I've probably beaten that one to death, but it really is close to my heart because that's the area that I work with, is the application. But there are so many cool things that have come out over the last, 5 years. And if you've been live for a little while and haven't been watching it, there might be some stuff in there that, you'd find handy. Like I'm looking forward to the March release because they're doing customer statements by Ship2. I know how exciting my life is, right? But I'm excited to see that. So I can't wait till that second Friday when they apply that into train and test, and I can go in and start playing with it. So that's the kind of stuff that I want you to make sure to catch up on and take advantage of. And then go back out as well and look for these situations that causing you some pain and see if there's something we can do with any of the other tool sets like Ion, the APIs, or even implementing those home pages. They're really kind of cool. And there is a bit of work to set it up, agreed. Some of the dashboards that come with the pre-built content are coming from Burst. And of course, the 1 week of the year that I am doing this presentation, we are in the middle of reloading our Burst. So I couldn't show it to you, but it is just some highlights of relevant information to your role. So as a buyer or as a AR person or customer service person, it's just some quick dashboards that tell me what's going on in my business right now.
Excellent. So we're going to give folks one last chance here. If you have any other final questions, please enter them into chat. We'll give it about another 30 seconds or so and see if we have anything that we haven't been able to address yet for you.
And if anyone would like a copy of either the functionality spreadsheet or my PowerPoint, please feel free to reach out to us. More than happy to share.
Well, Carol, I don't see any other questions coming in, so I would say that I think we have a wrap for today. And again, want to thank everybody for attending today's session. You will be receiving a recording of this session as well. And we look forward to working with you on any CSD questions you have or any migrations as well. Carol, any final thoughts?
I hope to see all of you at TUG.
Great. Yeah, we're going to
Thank you, everyone.
Quite the team. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.